UK Comic Reviewer here. Here I have a Beezer comic book from 1976. Spine's not in very good condition, unfortunately, and it's also been clipped. And you've got Dick and Harry on top of Pop, chasing, basically using him as a carrot and donkey type thing for an ice cream. And over the page, we've got all the usual characters cutting out ice out of a pond, so they can have a nice skate later on. Anyway, right, you've got Baby Crockett there muting this guy's trumpet, which is going to blow up in any minute. You've got the characters pasting a load of the Beezer book labels on top of the book itself. And you've got Ginger disguising a triangular shaped sandwich in his triangular bell, so he can eat while playing his musical instrument at the same time. Pop, Dick and Harry. Dick and Harry want to use their inflatable pedaling pool, but Pop's working and doesn't want them to get in the way. And they pump it up. They try to put water in, but unfortunately end up, because the pose has got loads of holes in it, end up watering the garden. Pop decides that he wants to wash his hands, which so they can't fill it up. So they have a bit of a wrestling. They have a bit of a argument with Pop and wrestling with the tap, and which leads to a load of water going everywhere, and Pop having to get a plumber, and Dick and Harry sailing around the garden in the inflatable. You've got the numbskulls, the man going out for a drink in a cafe with limeade and his teeth going green. This never happened to me. I've had limeade plenty of times and it's never turned my teeth green. So, but anyway, whatever. You got the numbskulls in a cup of tea there. Watch the birdie. This is about British birds in the country, and sort of like tells you all about them. Little Mo there, taking part in athletics events and winning some chocolates, which she uses what she practiced in the events to get the chocolates home. Unfortunately, the dog decides to eat them. And Baby Crockett there trying to help a guy design a window and not being very good at it. Sheriff's an ape, Charlie the ape, basically wanting this dodgy doctor to help him look nicer. Unfortunately, his face turns green, and the doctor then basically he's not happy with the doctor, so the doctor gives him an alternative, which makes his hair go really long. And Charlie gets rather angry, decides to jump in the pool, and decides to take it out on the dodgy doctor again. Takes some pills, which turn out to be bullets, which he spits into a fire, causing all sorts of a commotion. And takes the bullets, takes it out on the doctor, and goes out and starts a fight with some Native Americans, because the Native Americans are using the guns and bullets from the dodgy doctor, which they're disguising. And Charlie catches up with the dodgy doctor, and his assistant, throws them both in jail, treats himself to a makeover as you do. And we've got young Sid the Copper's Kid, with his dad looking out for a guy stealing ducks, and accidentally disturbing a swan, poor dad being chased by the swan, tripping over, falling into a river. Into a boat and catapulting a guy out of into the actual river. And Sid basically figures that he's the guy nicking the ducks, and takes him to the sergeant. And his dad is unfortunately being attacked by more swans on a boat. You got the bad lads wanting to capture a turkey or capture food for themselves. Nuck and Fingers go out, and Fingers steals a banana, which Nuck eventually slips over on, and poor Fingers ends up in a pond. Boss decides to use a fishing rod to try and take a crate, which he's hoping is food. Unfortunately, it's fancy dress clothing, which they could have used for other things, but anyway, let's carry on. So Boss and Fingers decide to... No, not Boss and Fingers, Knuck and Fingers rather, decide to break into a farm to nick a turkey. Unfortunately for them, it turns out to be Boss, who's disguised as a turkey. and they all get into a fight and get taken to jail, and they get given turkey for lunch, and obviously with their experiences don't want it. Then you've got Colonel Blink here, basically wanting some to buy some clothes pegs off of some gypsies. So they move, but they actually reason these guys are actually road workers, and which he's moved into his garden, and so they decide to go working on Blinky's garden instead of moving the tent back. Which this Blink ends up getting a gun out of there, thinking that they're moles, and shoots in there, but not realising that the guys in there still thinks they're the gypsies, trying to buy some clothes pegs. Unfortunately, it's the road workers. And we got Smiffy here with his dad going to a football match, and then meeting up with two guys who want to fight with him because his dad borrowed a lawnmower off him and broke it, and his son who wants to fight with his Smithy for unknown reasons. Smithy ending up with a load of fish being on him, hiding in a bin away from them, and his dad hiding in a manhole. And then both of them end up at the football match. But because of the smell from Smithy, because of the fish that fell on him earlier, everyone ends up moving away from him, so they end up with a good view, and even the goalkeeper doesn't, and the camera guy doesn't like it. You got Beezer teasers, you got some Beezer characters caught in an avalanche, Pop, Dick and Harry skiing down, Smiffy confusing some dogs' names up, and the Banana Bunch there having a snowball fight, Baby Crockett next to a snowman, Colonel Blink doing a painting with a few little errors. Pretty good painting actually, but if it weren't for the errors, that'd be quite good for Colonel Blink. Got the Banana Bunch there, with Brainy designing a robot to do all their household tasks for them. And unfortunately, he's pushed. Basically, gets them all out of there while he does cleaning. He decides to get some food. The robot then gets a knock and then goes mad, attacking everyone. So they decide to make Brainy put the robot costume on Brainy, who then has to do all the housework. And next page you've got Little Mo, Little Mo and Mirabelle having food and a picnic, and Muggsy decides to take all their food, including a trifle which Mo slaps in his face. You got Crooked Smiles, a load of short little stories about the bad lads, walking out of a cinema with a policeman waiting for them, a pail of water with Boss expecting the police, Knock trying to escape from a prison cell, Boss being unwell, and Fingers being apprehended by a couple, and a scene on the TV being repeated on poor Boss, who doesn't realise that there's a copper right behind him. You've got Boss driving away without Knuck and Fingers, who've been left behind at the previous humped bridge. You've got the Hillies and the Billies, the Wild West families fighting each other using guns, catapults, clubs, and eventually sailing around on inflatable objects over a river. Baby Crockett entering a soapbox race and literally winning it because there's soap still in the box, and the other competitors getting confused because of all the bubbles. You've got Nibbles, a little squirrel here, pinching loads of nuts off of, basically taking loads of nuts from competing with other animals for the nuts, and going down and basically helping the family. This young lad who's disabled, and he helps the squirrel get some nuts. Nibbles get some nuts, and because of young Danny, this is the lad's disability. He can't get out, so ends up getting into a fight with a grey squirrel, and basically the squirrel decides. Basically, the squirrel helps the young lad because obviously the young lad can't see the squirrel there, and he'd obviously fallen for a thing, and the squirrel had basically rescued him. So they go out in a wheelchair. So he goes out. So his mum takes him out in a wheelchair and gives the squirrel some nuts. Nibbles some nuts, but the grey squirrel obviously looking at it a bit unhappily. You got Black Bun, which is this rabbit who used to steal food off a farmer, including a nice meal there. And Dick and Harry wanting some pocket money off Pop, but so Pop makes them work around the house, which inadvertently leads to Pop having to scrub the floor. Watch the birdie, some more more facts about British birds. Very, very interesting. You've got numbskulls there with the poor guy being soaked with water several times and getting a cold. Ginger. Basically, they're fed up with some roadworks going outside, so he puts some cotton wool in his ears and forgets to hear his mum. His mum's asked him to turn the iron off, which basically goes through the ironing board. And obviously can't hear that guy asking for him to help because he's having trouble balancing. He's overbalancing. And a guy on a bicycle crashing into some bricks because Ginger didn't hear him because he had to swerve around him, and causing a load of commotion because of the people who are not very happy with him. And you got young Sid the Copper's kid there with Sid and his dad out looking for a cat burglar. His dad decides to dress up as a cat, which obviously causes a load of problems, and rolls down a hill in a bin, and accidentally knocks into Sid, who has to try and run on the bin to try and to keep on his feet, which crashes into a bin with frightening a dog, and Sid crashes into the ladder, which has the cat burglar, which then basically goes across the street to the police station. Although why a cat burglar was burgling a house across the street from a police station is a bit strange, but anyway, never mind. And you got his poor dad, and the burglar gets apprehended at the police station, and his poor dad basically being chased by a dog while still dressed as a cat because the dog thinks he's a cat. You got Blinking Fun here, Colonel Blink, sort of through the ages, through historical ages, including a dinosaur and fighting against the Vikings. Baby Crockett there sharing toys with his neighbour. Black Bun stealing apples off a farmer, disguised as snowballs. The Hillies and the Billies. The Hillies being ambushed by the Billies and nicking gunpowder, which then later on sets them off and blows their property up and basically disables some ducks, which the Pillies proceed to have for dinner. Little board game there, Fool a Farmer, getting away and stealing up apples out of a farmer's field, shed rather. You've got the Banana Bunch there, basically with a guard dog, stopping Fatty getting into the kitchen to help himself to more food, and in the end they turn him into a suit of armour and take the dog away because the dog won't let anyone in at all, including Fatty. Unfortunately, Fatty can't get his bin armour thing off. You got Blubber, that guy. Right, we've got Blubber there, this guy who can change into all sorts of different shapes, including a rug, a snake, a spider, a gorilla, helping this guy who's doing a robbery, but he eventually gets the guy captured by the police and taken away by the police. And you've got Black Bun there, nicking carrots off the farmer. And over the page, you've got Smiffy eating the last of the bread, which his dad's not happy about, so he instructs him to go and get another one. Unfortunately, it's very hard, and his dad's not too chuffed about it. And at the last scene, you've got all of the characters skating on the pond from earlier. Anyway, thank you very much. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.